everybody, Pastor Zach here, and thank you so much for joining me. And we are mid our Bible study series, and today I want to talk about commentaries. And you might be questioning, Zach, why go through all of these helps before we really get into some of the meat of how to study the Bible? And the reason is because you have all this information that's available for you. I want you to know what it all is. So as we start going through more of the principles of how to study the Bible, you can have a couple resources around you that are going to be helpful for you to better understand exactly what you're trying to study. And I hope that car that went by didn't just kill us. So the first question is, what is a commentary? Basically, a commentary is a book or a series of books. Sometimes it covers sometimes a commentary just covers one book of the Bible. Sometimes there's a series of them that cover multiple books of the Bible. And so that author basically writes down all of their detailed study about that book. He or she, writes down what all they've learned from their detailed study, things that they think will help you in your study. And so the most common question that I get when it comes to commentaries is people ask me, how do you pick out a good commentary? How do you know that you're getting a good resource? They want to know, how do you pick out the right person that's speaking to you? And there's a couple things that I think are very important for you to know in this. For one, no commentary author is going to be perfect all the time. They just are not going to. And for two, you're going to have to be very discerning about what you read because of that. Because no commentary author is perfect, you're going to have to be very discerning about what you read, what you do with that information, and how you're approving it, how you're checking it. And Paul says this to Timothy. He says that it's work to study the Bible. It is work. And so a commentary is not replacing that work. A commentary is just helping you in that work and maybe taking some of the introductory work off of your shoulders and helping you understand a little bit more of the context. So as you're actually doing your study, you understand more about it and you're able to do more. Now, Paul also says that he loved the Berean church because the Berean church would not just listen to him. They would write down what he said, and then they would go take it back. They would check it against the scriptures to make sure what Paul was saying was accurate. And boy, if you can do that with the Apostle Paul, you can do that with any author today, right? And so there's no shame in doing that. So there's a couple different ways that we check out on authors. Now, some authors are just going to be bad, and it's very difficult sometimes to find out what somebody's disposition is going to be when you start getting a commentary. There's a couple things I do before I pick out a commentary. One is I might ask around for friends, find out what they've studied. Another one is I visit bestcommentaries.com. It's a website. It's a lot like Rotten Tomatoes except for commentaries. It uses a lot of different aggregated reviews of different commentaries to give you some of the highest rated commentaries, so hopefully you're getting some of the best ones. Something else I do is as I'm reading through the commentary, I start to ask myself, what is the author trying to say here? Do they have a hidden agenda that they're trying to get across, that doesn't line up with the book? As they're talking, is what they're saying. Sometimes an author will start saying something, you'll say, oh, that's good, but it's not lining up with the book. It's not helping your study in the book, And sometimes it's bad. Sometimes you're reading something, you're like, I don't know how I feel about that. And you look at it and you're like, well, this isn't really lining up with the book. Now, there's no real overall shortcut to make sure you get the best resource possible. But these are a couple things that I would recommend to kind of get a feel out. Now, Best Commentaries is going to lean towards, there's kind of a spectrum when it comes to commentaries. There's commentaries that are very user-friendly, very easy to read, and are going to be very helpful regardless of your level of theological training. And then there's ones that are going to be way more complex. They're going to be harder for you to read if you don't have as much theological training. And so my recommendation to you would be that when you are looking for a commentary, that you read some of it. You read it and make sure that you can understand what the author's trying to say, because what help is it if you are reading the commentary and you can't understand it. Sometimes there's commentaries that I start reading, and I may not be able to understand them, or I'm just reading through it and I'm like, look, this level of detail is not what I need for my intended purposes, right? And so the depth of study is just something that I don't need there. I just need a better general idea of what's going on, right? So there's some great commentaries that are like the NIV application commentary. There's the Preaching the Word commentary series. A couple of these are very good. They cover the entire Bible. They're very easy to understand commentary series that would be something that would be approachable, that you'd be able to understand. And then, like the Bereans, what you're going to do is you're going to check what that author says against the Scripture, right? So you're going to, if they list a verse, you're going to follow that verse, and you're going to, that they cross-reference, you're going to read the context of that verse and make sure it makes sense. You're going to make sure they're using it the right way. You're going to not just take their word for it, but you're going to do some of your own study. If you read something in a commentary that seems like it's from left field, absolutely left field, you have all of human knowledge available to you at a click. You can Google it, and are you always going to get the best information off Google? No, you're not. But you can at least find out whether or not what the person's saying has ever been repeated by somebody, if somebody's ever taught it before, or if this guy just seems to be crazy. You can read a couple different commentaries. That's very common among pastors. They'll read several commentaries because they need to know that the things that they're learning are being repeated by these different authors, because it gives it another level of credibility. When it comes to piecing all of this together, it's labor intensive. Studying the Bible is not necessarily the easiest of thing, right? This is not like a 5-minute workout video every morning. You're going to have to do some work. You're going to have to dig in a little bit. But I promise you it's going to be well worth it in the end. So there's a couple resources that are available to you that I shared. If you want just an overview of the book of Bible, watch the video on study Bibles. We went through that. And as we continue on, I'm going to be talking about more study helps, more things that you can be looking for. And as always, if you have any questions, any comments, let me know. And thank you so much for joining me today, and you have a great day.